Good morning. Is there anybody there? Hi, welcome to our weekly. Good morning, Jalf.
Morning, Ammar.
Hi.
I was having some technical difficulties on my end getting on to the show, but either way.
Well, it's just it all went a bit quiet as well. We are live, I believe, but the radio station just simply went quiet.
Well, I can see a live sign on my window.
Us on Facebook is what we are. So anyway, good morning, listeners, viewers, everybody across the world. You're listening to Ammar and
Jalf,
live on our weekly radio show right here on Spice FM and live across the globe via the wonderful Facebook.
And each week we're going to bring some views and news and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider communities.
And we'll be talking shop quite literally and not just corner shops. Whether you're looking to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
We can help, and we do help. Gosh, Jalf, it is Friday, the 5th of February, 2021.
2027, and we're in the 8th year of lockdown. And
it was funny. There was a calendar that I'm sure I might have shared or someone shared. Anyway, someone else had created. It wasn't me, but it was what day it was from the lockdown in March, and it was it is the 300 and something of March.
There was this whole thing about 33. I didn't quite get what the theories were when this 23-33 situation.
What was that?
I don't know, something to do with good old Chris Whitty, where he was on the street and someone went up to him and kept on calling him a liar. And obviously the media wasn't very happy about doing that to our darling Chris. But that was, I don't know, he had something to do with 33s, but I didn't quite get it, to be honest.
I don't know about that, but I was just talking about someone had created an alternative calendar, a date schedule from the lockdown in March last year. So it was, as in that the usual calendar of time had stopped, and it was just a continuation of the days in March 2020. So it was, so if for example, March the 20th, or, what was the date of the lockdown?
March the 22nd,
right,
was it was March the 15th where they made the announcement. I think March the 22nd, which is a Sunday, was the last day. I think 23rd lockdown started.
Yeah. And it was funny because I was in London the week before.
Yeah, I think I can remember.
And it was scary. Like, I'd never felt or experienced London, and I was in St. Ermin's Hotel. And the reason why I'm talking about it now is, so I'd gone down on the Sunday night, stayed in this hotel, beautiful hotel, and with amazing history. Even the hotel was like distinctly quiet with people, and the streets were a bit, for it being London, it was a bit weird. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is it was the start of a MIT program that I've participated in. I've been championing the Northeast as the Northeast champion on the Michigan Institute of Technology, so MIT, their regional entrepreneur accelerator program. And um, I spent 3 days in London kicking it off with the 5 other regions. There was 5 regions in total across the UK working on this program, and this program was all around supporting and encouraging more innovation to happen within businesses, and the impact if businesses, so if SMEs became IDEs, so innovation-driven enterprises. So rather than small to medium enterprises, if they became innovation-driven enterprises. Anyway, this program's been going on since then. And we were meant to be meeting up regularly. We were even potentially going to go across to MIT in America. And anyway, that program concluded yesterday. So we spent 2 days yesterday, and it was just really interesting to think about. That was the last place where I traveled anywhere for business type thing, you know, as in or participating in something.
Yeah.
And it was the start of the beginning of the end, or the end of the beginning, or whatever you want to call it.
In the beginning of the end is probably.
It's just, anyway, great program, met some great people, fantastic experience, and it's great to have learned. But I've been taking virtual. So at the end of it yesterday, I sent a message going, "Can I do a selfie, please?" And they're going, "What?" And they go, I'm going, "Can I take a virtual selfie?" Because I've got in my phone, I have got. Let's just have a quick look. As you know, I am a prolific selfie taker, and currently there are 80,815 photographs in my phone.
Really?
Yeah.
80,000?
Yeah.
God, man, I've probably got about 8 or 80 at the max.
Yeah. So I've got 80,815 photos.
Really?
And it's quite interesting because my in-laws and my wife, they regularly criticize. They're like, "Well, Ammar, all you ever do is take lots of pictures and, you know, all of that." And it's quite interesting that actually I've captured so many moments over the years and I've shared them. And even though people might have deleted the 571 pictures that I've taken of them in every single angle all at the same time, they're very grateful for having captured. And I just wish I had more pictures of prior to that. You know, it's the thing. I wish I had more pictures with my family. I wish I had more pictures with my dad.
You would have hoped that we had this technology 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, I guess that's some benefits of technology that we would have missed out on. Imagine having our mobile phones when we were 15 years old. That would have been cool.
Yeah, well, do you think 15-year-olds think it's cool having a mobile phone, or is it just is it now just a given?
Well, I think for them it is a given, but obviously in our era it was very, very different. I did have a phone at the age of 18, and at that time, when the phone used to ring, the whole street used to stop. And it's very different today. I mean, if you do a kind of little bit of a rewind, Ammar, and I remember when I went to university, and you know, we were seeing other kids with mobile phones, and I was like, "Oh my God, isn't he so cool?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was a thing that you kind of thought, "Oh my God, why do you need a mobile phone for?"
Yeah.
I mean, who does he think he is? But you know, it became a necessity quite quickly.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember when so I've still got the brick phone.
Oh, you used to have some very cool phones.
Yeah,
especially
I've still got some the Bang & Olufsen.
The Bang & Olufsen one. That was just the most extraordinary phone.
I've got 3 of them. And the latest, the one that I last used is still in pristine condition. And it's an incredible phone. And it's like, it was so cool, is what it was. And it was like, and it had this mechanical, automated sort of clamshell opening, which would go by itself.
Yeah, it's so unique. It was one of the, I think I only ever saw one other person with it.
Well, I was the first one to get it.
Well, yeah, I can believe that, definitely. And they weren't cheap.
I've always been not just a competitive type of individual, but I've always liked to be first. And, and I remember, I'm just thinking, when the phones first came about, so the first one was almost like a StarTAC. There was an Ericsson was one of the phones. And then there was a Sony one, which was like a bit square and it had an aerial. It was about that big. And this was in black and white days, so I'm just thinking about, I've always had a mobile phone, but what was really interesting was I didn't know that many other people with one. So who was going to call on a mobile phone? Of course, he called landlines and things like that. But just thinking about sports and stuff like that, Jalf, I do remember walking to the West Road and using the payphone when Mum used to call Pakistan. Because you'd go to a payphone.
Yeah, of course.
Is what you'd do. Lots of people done it. And what was even more interesting was the vast majority of payphones had a number. Well, obviously they had a number, but you could get people to call you back. And I remember, regularly talking to people and going, all right, call me back then. And certain people would call me as I was stood next to a payphone, and you'd almost wouldn't let people in to use it.
Well, and there's a big queue, and people looking at you.
Yeah, so as you were waiting for someone precious to call you from somewhere, and equally, you couldn't get to call the house. That was an interesting thing. But our telephone number, Jalf, when my sister and brother-in-law got, we've had that number since the numbers here in Newcastle were, I'm certain, 3107.
What, before 0191, there was a different code, wasn't there? Was it?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, I can vividly remember.
It was 191, so they just added an 0191. No, I'm talking about, so now your landline number is sort of 10 digits. Is that right? Is it 10 digits or 01912?
No, I don't think so. 272.
11 digits. 11.
Well, 11 digits with a code, right?
Yeah, with the code.
Yeah.
So your phone number is 11 digits with the code. Now, in certain areas, so up in Northumberland, our local number is 6 digits, and the code is 5 digits. Is 4 digits. I'll get my maths right. So you up here, the code is 01661. So the code here is 5 digits. The code in cities is 4 digits. Yeah. So your telephone number at home is either 6 digits or 7 digits. Right? So your house number or your business number is 7 digits, right? Let's just argue, for argument's sake, your telephone number at your business. What is it if someone wants to order some amazing food, Jalf? What's the number?
It's 2614277.
Right, 2614277. Our number, we've had our number in the family since it was 3107.
Really? So you just kept the same number?
They added the digits to it as the switch grew.
Wow.
So we must have been number 3,107 or something like that. It might have been the rest of the digits. Obviously, I'm not going to give out my sister's number live on air. But the point is the two that was introduced, and then another number was introduced. I remember us having I don't know if you remember those phones that were like long and they had a long handset and they were like green and you dialed the thing. Where you gone?
Hold on, I'm still here. Someone's just trying to get through. It's that's the challenges of having one phone, which is not just a phone anymore. So many other things.
Yeah, so yeah, I just remember, and actually, they used to put a lock on the phone as well, didn't they? Did you ever have a lock on your phone?
Oh, with a silver little thing with a little key. Yeah. Oh, that was because people would just go and call all over the world, weren't they?
Yeah. On things like that as kids, you'd and not that I'd ever confessed to doing this, but that you'd go and knock on someone's door. Was there not like some game that was called Knocky Knocky Nine Doors or something?
Yeah, something like that. You would knock and run away.
Sure, these naughty boys and girls, whoever they were, would do that. And you think back and you think, what a funny game to go and knock on someone's door, hide behind a wall, and chuckle as they came to the door and there wasn't anybody there. How people used to entertain themselves. But,
in some ways, Ammar, it's better than being an anti-socialist and just sitting there on your computer and not interacting with anybody.
Oh, of course. But all I'm saying is so there was that game that other people used to play anyway. And then there was the random caller game. And then obviously that's one of the reasons why someone would introduce a lock to the phone if the kids were inappropriately ringing other people, because you didn't have 1471 in them days.
Yeah, to see who it was.
So as we reminisce about the good old times and the good old days.
Yeah, I think we should maybe do a bit of talk about the future now. Back to the Future.
Yeah. That publication that I was talking about, it got published last week in Northern Insight. I don't know if you've had any copies of it, Jalf, but the feedback from it has been first class. People really liked not just the illustration of what's happened, but the demonstration of what they should be doing right now. But you're right. The hokey-cokey seems to continue, doesn't it? Where we don't know whether we're coming out of a lockdown. We don't know when we are. Someone says something somewhere, and then it doesn't happen. All of those things. How, from the cold face of business, Jalf, how are you feeling? What's happening?
I think what we're looking to do is just plan for the worst and just plan for being in lockdown until the rest of the year. I think that's the only way that we should look at it, because I think if we do it any indifferently, which is what I did in lockdown number 2, I'm still suffering from that indecisiveness on my part, where I should have looked at it then and said that, right, team, forget restaurants forever. Let's focus on a takeaway and let's do the best takeaways in the city and beyond. And because we didn't do that, you can't just turn the ship around in an instant. I mean, it takes time to
Not when it's a big
remarket your.
tanker. Not when it's a big tanker.
It's not even. It doesn't even have to be a big tanker, Omar. It's just the fact that your strategy is a. When you talk about business strategy, it's the big decisions. You know, it takes time to plan and adjust and change. And I've lost a good 2 months of because of the indecision, which was ultimately, look, when you rely on the government, you can't, obviously, you kind of I relied on the government, which was what most everyone else more or less done too. But on this occasion, I'm thinking that there's no way I'm going to be one of these people in hospitality that's waiting for the government to give us some positive news when you can open up a restaurant or open up a bar, because just don't do it, because you just don't know. You're going to have false hopes. So just plan with what the state of play is today. Go ahead, and we're going to just focus on things as it is and make the best of things as they are. And if there's any positive news that comes, we're going to look at it as a bonus. And I think that's probably a sensible way of doing it, because having emotional ups and downs with ourselves and the rest of the team, it's just not good. Being in the condition as it is, and it's not good at all, because it is difficult when you have, the city centre, Ammar, is still decimated. When you go around such a sad state of affairs, the retail is obviously not there. You've got
what is actually open? I mean,
you can go to M&S and get some lovely. The food hall is open, and that does really, really well. And every time I've been in, I see lots of people in there. The likes of Superdrug, the likes of Boots. I think I've noticed, Ammar, there's a number of other shops. On Grey Street, opposite Living Spaces or Tandoori Nights, there used to be like an army shop kind of a place.
Yeah.
Where they're still open, but I think they're just opening because they're doing their online orders from that particular store, because that is their store. So I've seen a number. The Mountain Shop on Dean Street, opposite Marco Polo. I've noticed that they are also open, and it could only be because they're doing online sales through that particular store. So they'll be packing up the boxes.
So you can, any shop is allowed to open if you do click and collect.
So what, can they click and collect from the shop? Can they?
Yeah.
No.
So you just have to make sure that the mechanism is there to enable people to do that. So
are you sure? Because can a clothes shop open for a click and collect? Because if that was the case,
what you can't do is, well, actually, you need to validate that. But when I say click and collect, so for example, so the simple answer is yes, because Mapland is open, and my dear wife has been there a couple of times, and click and collect.
I don't know. I think well, I'm confused about that then, because if that was the case, I'm sure that there would be a lot of other retailers taking advantage of that facility, because it would mean that
we don't necessarily have the digital platform. So as we've been saying for years, not just the last year, if you want to stay in business, if you want to grow your business, if you want to succeed in business, the future has to be digital. And you have to have a digital offering from a convenience point of view. Now, matter of fact is that some of the businesses, so Argos, as I understand it, I don't know if it's still open or not, but was doing click and collect. Various other shops remain, and let's just I'm certain.
I mean, my understanding is the shops that I've just been making reference to, I have also spotted parcel force turning outside the shop, and they've got a whole load of boxes, which I'm presuming that they were online orders and they're just getting it shipped out via parcel force to people's houses. So So my understanding is that these particular operators that are there and the shops look open because the lights are on, there's people inside, they're just organising the online orders to be delivered. I haven't seen anyone going into the shop to collect because I'm assuming because they're retailers are barred. So
well, okay. So I've just looked at Matalan, and I've just done a quick Google search, and there's plenty of other shops that people go to. So we're not simply promoting one shop or one opportunity, but I am highlighting that according to Google, which is our Bible now, as is described, it's saying there's 3 Matalan stores, Newcastle upon Tyne, so Killingworth, one in Newcastle, one in Gateshead, and it's saying in-store shopping, there's an X next to it. In-store pickup, there's a tick. So you can go in and pick something up.
Well, that's not my. I'm a bit confused, to be honest. Is it just essentials that you can buy from them? Then is there a list of essential items?
No. So if I go to their website and go, I want to buy some lingerie, because along the top it says lingerie. Obviously they've got this. They've got. So I want to buy some knickers. Obviously I don't. And
they're essential, though, aren't they?
Well, I'd hate to think they're essential for me, but I'm sure they are essential. Well, actually, I don't know if they are. Clothes aren't. So if you're a clothing retailer, can you go into Marks and Spencer's and do some clothes?
Well, the thing is, I think that was a whole debate, right? Because you could go to Tesco and you can buy clothes.
Yeah.
But because of the big corporations, they're obviously allowed.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that do those events, don't they? And they're like Boris goes and they give them lots of money and stuff. Fundraisers and all of that.
Well, you can't say anything like that, John. Anyway, just the point is there are. So look, all right, a suit I'd like a black suit.
But from Matalan?
From Matalan, it's 30 quid. It says £30 for a Panama tailored fit suit jacket.
That'd be nice. Well, once you put it on, people will never know it was from Matalan.
I'm going to add it to my bag. So I'm going to select a size. They've got, oh, maybe I'm not that size. I just want a regular size, add to the bag. I'm going to check out. Need to add. Anyway, we're doing a live demonstration of shopping, how to do it. We'll send a copy.
Well, it's not that, Ammar. I think a lot of people are probably not aware of. I certainly wasn't, to be honest, that you could go to certain shops and do a click and collect.
So look, it says here, I can click and collect free pickup from 200 local stores for a suit.
Wow.
And that was my understanding, is that if you the pubs around here, so the Blackbird has been open, but it only does takeaway, but it's physical takeaway. You go up to it, you buy a drink or food, but it's not alcohol, but a drink or whatever it is, and you walk away with it.
Yeah, well, that's food though. That's essential.
Okay, I get that, but it's not food, because actually it's just snacks is all they're doing. So it's a cup of coffee and a snack. Anyway,
yeah,
fair comment. But there are other people, and if you have a look on Facebook, people who've set up shops, who are making things, selling things, they're still doing, they're still making and selling things. You just can't come into a physical space to walk around in some shopping. So anyway, the point is if you didn't know that, and if our listeners and viewers didn't know that, you can, as long as you implement safe practices. My understanding is you can offer your goods on a delivery basis, which we're all aware of. So the someone picking up a parcel and taking it away. But on that same principle, you can also allow for your customers to come and collect their goods. They're just simply not allowed to come into your retail premise and shop.
Interesting. But then why are not a lot of the other shops not doing this then, Ammar? Like so Primark and you know, Sports Directs of the world, and they would have big queues outside on Northumberland Street.
Honest answer, don't know. I imagine it has something to do with their technical capacity and capability. I don't think Primark are online. Are they?
I'm sure there will be, man, these days. I think everyone's got to be online. I'm sure if we wanted to get some clothes from Primark, we could probably get it ordered and get it delivered.
I'm just looking.
I think everyone.
It'll be cost. So if you think about it, you're not going to open up a big store, are you?
Yeah, of course, and that's the whole. I'm assuming it's probably down to that.
So it says, in line with government guidance, our UK stores are now temporarily closed. But it looks, yes, so you're absolutely right. You can buy stuff online.
Interesting.
So you learn something new every day, Jeff. But it's quite interesting that Matalan, who clearly have these industrial site stores, find it cost effective to offer that.
Maybe Matalan's are not in the city centres, and I think I met a gentleman from Alan from is it the Lep from Alan from the Lep?
Alan Welby.
I can't remember the surname of Alan, but it was a discussion that we had. It was just about getting some local businesses together to come together and try and find how they can kind of collectively make a better standing for themselves in this current climate, especially in the city centre, and look at put a set of brains together to try and develop and understand the dynamic of the city centre moving forward and what they can and cannot do. And I think my simple question to him was, I said, look, it's a really, really great thing that you're looking to do, but if you imagine you get 20 businesses together and they come up with some bright solutions and bright ideas that, yes, we can improve the city centre because of A, B, C, and D reasons. But then if it meant that it wasn't going to get to the city council's desk, or they weren't going to be part of these meetings, then you're not going to get anywhere anyway. Because you can come up with all these big, bright ideas, but if the city council or the government, they're not on board, then individuals having bright ideas, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get anywhere. Because, for example, since the lockdown, and we noticed this very much so in July, when hospitality was allowed to open, the city centre was never the same. And it became like a donut. The city became like a donut, hole in the middle. Yeah. Everything went to the outskirts, and we knew this because the branch in Jasmine overtook by a long distance the sales that we used to do in the city centre, and it used to be reversed. So that changed, and there's a lot of fundamental things that as a city centre, it's the nucleus of a city. It should be always the most attractive part of any city. It's when people come from outside, they want to evaluate how good is Newcastle. They're not going to go to the outskirts, are they? They want to come into the city centre and see the vibrancy of the city centre and say, oh, Newcastle's a great city. I went to the city centre and they had this, and this. I just think that our city councils, they don't understand that. They profess to do, but they don't. Because when your city becomes a donut, what did you actually do about it? Did you even know that it became a donut? What did you do to tackle it? What did you do to come and help support the local businesses? Did you come and ask anybody? or did you make the decisions based on your European funding and this, that, and the other? So there's a lot of stuff that if we want to try and salvage the cities, our city centre especially, moving forward, individuals can always come up with great ideas. If it's not backed by the powers that be, and if it's not backed by the city council or by the government, you know, we're not gonna do anything. We're not gonna be able to get anywhere.
Jalf, are you there? Hey,
Wow.
how are we doing?
Yes.
Gosh. Anyway, we
Good.
yeah, I think so.
Feel better.
A lot relieved, I think is the word. is what they say. But anyway, you're listening to Ammar and
Good.
where you gone?
Jalf.
Yeah, great. So Jalf.
I'm still here. I cannot see us.
No, there was just a bit of granularity in your picture. And really, there's a few things that businesses need to be aware of in regards to support, Jalf. So there is a number of programs of support out there. We are expecting some announcements on additional funding and support. So you can check out the SMECOFE.com website, where we're regularly updating people. There's a peer networks program that we're running where groups of people are coming together, learning from one another. That's a huge opportunity. We're doing some research at the minute just to better understand and inform government on what their next response will be. We're lobbying government, Jalf. So Asian Business Connections is lobbying government on an extension to the loans that were introduced to businesses as of March last year. So, you know, the big thing that lots of businesses are worrying about right now is in a few weeks' time, potentially, they're going to have to start making repayments on these loans. As a consequence.
When you're in shutdown, there's other things are how you're supposed to pay your PAYE bills. On the furlough support that's given, it doesn't pay for the PAYE bills. You have to pay your PAYE bills when your businesses are shut down. How are you supposed to do that?
I mean, look, Jalf, there's
get the grant from the government to pay that, or get the loan from the government to pay that?
Your signal isn't great at the minute.
Not moving.
I don't know what it was. But anyway, you're there. We're still continuing. No, you're right. I mean, everything that you're raising, Jalf, is very much a challenge for all of the businesses and individuals. And, you know, I'm
just the reality of the situation.
I'm regularly sort of, you know, experiencing, look, on odd days, there's almost some anxiety that people are experiencing, you know, becoming anxious at the same old, you're having to get up, you're getting up, you then sort of sat in front of a computer like this, or you've got kids who you're trying to school from home, and you're trying to think about work, and you're trying to think about, well, what's going to happen. And, you know, the level of uncertainty creates even more anxiety. So, you know, you need to be in a position to control the controllables. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, it is tough, and it's just all a matter of how quickly. I think it's now the government have a plan, and it's not a dilly-dally plan. You want to open up the country, open it up, and don't say it's closed again in 3 months' time and this R rate and this, that, and the other. I mean, that you need to find a different. Coronavirus is still there. You need to figure that out, how you deal with that within an open economy.
No, of course you do.
That's how it should have been from day one anyway.
Your signal
can't just shut down the country because of
it. Sorry, your signal is really poor. It's saying it's red on my.
Right. I will try and get through the next few minutes because we're nearly there.
No, we are. We are nearly there, but it's just I don't know what changed.
Could it be my computer's near my phone? Can that have an impact?
I don't think. Well, it shouldn't have.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, you're there, but you're right. The biggest challenge. What is interesting though, Jalf, is if you look at other countries, right, like New Zealand or Australia and places like that, where the economies have opened back up. The one thing that they had done first and foremost was close down the borders. They didn't let people come in or out.
Yep.
And even now, we're still hesitating about what people should do as they come in and out. And we'll continue to experience all of the challenges. I mean, the one thing that is amazing and is incredible, and we need to acknowledge and admire, is the fact that there's now been nearly 11 million people vaccinated, Jack.
I mean, I think the organization that I've seen and heard in terms of the places that are performing the vaccines is supposed to be incredibly organized, very, very set up very well, following all the procedures. So obviously it's something that's very, very important to the government, and they've put the effort, energy, and the time in that, and they are doing it in the right way. And I think the response I've got from those that have already had it, they said it was very, very organized and it was done very well.
I think one of so you're absolutely right, but it's incredible that 1 in 5 people in the UK now have been given a vaccine. The other slightly challenging note is that there are around about 15% of people refusing, they're being described as vaccine hesitant. So 15% of those on average, and the statistics haven't been clearly captured. That's one of the biggest challenges. But 15% of the vaccine hesitant people, and a significant proportion of those vaccine hesitant people are Black and minority ethnic individuals. And it's been quite interesting and telling to hear of the different perspectives or the views of why that is. And Adil Ray, who's a presenter on Good Morning Britain, had launched a campaign and such like, just to try and educate people and things like that. And he was on Radio 4 yesterday, and he highlighted, one of the biggest challenges is generally the level of suspicion that Black and minority ethnic people have with government, with the authorities. And a great point that he highlighted and illustrated was that certainly all we're being told in the news is that if you're Black or if you're Asian, and in particular Pakistani and Bangladeshi, you men, right? You are twice as likely to die. Right? So you've heard that, right? That's the news. That's what's been said. But no one's explained why that is.
Well, I think, and are those people that are hesitant, is there going to be a smearing campaign against them?
Well, no, I don't think it's necessarily a smearing campaign because, look, it's important that everything is dealt with in a diplomatic point of view. Now, I know firsthand, so I know of some doctors, right, some female white doctors, young, who have said they wouldn't be taking the vaccine because of the potential risk it has, because they still want to have further babies.
Yep.
Right? Now these are well-informed decisions being made because and then I have had a direct conversation with somebody within medically qualified who has said that one of the vaccines, because it they believe it can have an impact on a particular on your anyway, a female part of your body that is to do with reproduction, and because of that. They're hesitant, but it's not the vaccine that's been created here. So that response may just allude to the vaccine, which is a new type of vaccine, which is genetically focused, whereas our traditional vaccine, which I would encourage everybody to take, is a vaccine that gives you a small dose and gets your body to naturally fight it. So that's your traditional vaccine.
So when you're talking about the traditional vaccines, are you talking about the vaccines prior to the coronavirus vaccines, the flu vaccines, and those other?
So the traditional creation. So vaccines. So there's now a dozen different types of vaccines across the globe, right? And a vaccine is historically the traditional approach to vaccination has been to create a vaccine that has the particles of the actual virus within it. So when you get the flu jab, it's almost it has a when you get any vaccine, it has the DNA of the virus within it, right? And it's entered into your body, and it's got some antibodies in it as well, but it naturally builds your body's defenses to that virus. The vaccine that was being created, not the Oxford one, the other one that has been created, the Pfizer one, as I understand it, has been created in a wholly different way, where it uses an element of genetic sort of modification. Now, what is a point, and I'm conscious of time, it's really, really important to make this is, look, if you're offered the vaccine, we need to get vaccinated. It's important that everybody gets vaccinated and it prevents the disease. You just need to look into this and be assured on what you're doing, but use factual sources. Don't follow the WhatsApp and this news and that news and all of that type of thing. But it's a choice that you need to make. It's like any vaccine. You know, I get asked every single year to get the flu jab. I choose not to because I'm slightly cautious of the reaction that I might have to it. That's not to say it's not a good thing. That's not to say it's not the right thing. It's just a personal choice. Anyway, we've come to the end of the show, and you know, you've been listening to Ammar and
Jalf
live on our weekly radio show right here and broadcast live. We'll be back next week where we're going to give you some additional business support. I've got a presentation to share on the type of things that people should and could be doing. We'll talk through it. But until next week, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me. Have a lovely weekend.
All right, all the best.
Greater than the expected numbers of people arriving from those countries. Ideally, what we're trying to do is